Florence County School District Board of Trustees February meeting. If you would, join me for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Mr. Goins, if you would.
Yes, sir. You will let us pray. Father God, we just thank you tonight that we can come together as a board, as faculty, as staff, as parents, as community, and students. And God, I just thank you for each one here tonight. We thank you for the blessings that you poured out on our lives. And God, we thank you for this past week of rest and relaxation during our winter break. God, I just pray tonight that you will give us wisdom and knowledge and understanding to work together to better Florence School District 5. And we give you all the honor and glory in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. In accordance with South Carolina Code of Laws 1976, Section 30-40-80E as amended, the following were notified of this meeting: Morning News, Post and Carrier, WBTW, WMBF, WPDE-TV, and posted on our school site, www.fsd5.org. We'll now move to approval of agenda. Is everything good? All right. We'll move to our special recognition with our junior squad scholars.
Okay. As you all know, 8th graders take the PSAT every year. And students who score a 550 or higher on reading or writing, or 5 Our first one, Miss Aria Williams, if you would come forward. Congratulations. And I don't believe the second one's here, but Miss Quinn Harris from Johnsonville Middle School as well. These are our two junior scholars. I don't know that I could take the PSAT right now and score as high as they do, so we're very proud. Y'all represented us very well. Thank you very much. Okay.
We'll now move to public forum. Have anybody signed up for public forum? Okay. We'll move right along to our consent agenda. Has everyone had a chance to look through the packets and check that out?
Mm-hmm. Thanks, yeah.
Have any questions or concerns with the consent agenda? All right. If not, we'll move straight to our regular agenda and to our superintendent's report.
Okay, we'll begin with academics.
Good evening, everyone. Just wanted to give you a few updates in the world of academics. Spring is here and testing has begun. We have started some of our testing that is required by the state for the past actually week or before break and continuing finishing out. We are doing our access for our English language learners. Those are our multi-language learner students. They have to each year take a test and score a certain level. And if they don't score that certain level, they have to continue to take that test, trying to attempt to score to that level. There was a change last year in which we had some students that did graduate and move on to where they don't have to take it anymore based on the 4.4 overall they have. But we do have some students that continue to take those from elementary all the way to high school. Currently, we are still testing some of our students for GT testing. Those that scored a certain level but not quite the level that they have to qualify for GT, we're still doing performance task assessments for those students to see if they will qualify. Coming up, SC Alt, that is for our students in our mild to moderate special education class. They don't take the regular SC Ready, they take the SC Alt. and they will be taking those tests from sometime between usually middle of March through April. The ACT Day will be held at Johnsonville High School on March 11th. Our 11th grade students are offered an opportunity to take the ACT or the SAT for free. The state pays for that, and I believe all of our students have chosen to take the ACT. So we'll be offering that on March 11th. And then for some of our 9th and 10th grade students, they will be taking the pre-SAT on March 25th. On April 10th, we will have students taking the ASVAB and the WIN test, which is the Career Ready test. For WIN, every student that is in their 3rd year of high school, which is typically 11th grade, but if they're in their 3rd year of high school, or any seniors that is not college or career ready, they may take it again. And both of those tests will allow our students to qualify with a qualifying score. It will allow them to be college and career ready. I-Ready formative assessments will begin in April and May, depending on the specific grade levels. Grades 3 through 8 will test a little bit earlier in April, and then grades K, 1, and 2, we're giving them a little bit of time since they aren't state tested. They will begin their I-Ready testing in May. And then, of course, once May comes around, we begin SE Ready, and we'll be giving you more information regarding SE Ready in the upcoming board meetings. Climate surveys, they started today. Climate surveys, of course, are the surveys that the State Department of Education sends out to our students, to our teachers, and to our parents. The student and teacher surveys count toward our report cards, with 10 points going to the elementary, middle, and 5 points at the high school. Schools will conduct the student and the teacher surveys on site, and the parent links will be they've already been emailed. I've received mine already. They've been emailed out via Bright Arrow. And parents have until April 11th to take those parent surveys. And so what we'll do is we'll continue to send those specific links out to parents a couple more times to try to get as much as we can. The teacher and the student surveys, we've got to have at least 85% participation, which we always do. The parent surveys, we're trying to get as much as we can. Typically, we get about 20 to 25% participation with the parents. So we're going to send that out a little more this year than what we typically have, because we do want to try to get that feedback from our parents. As you've heard me mention in previous board meetings, we will have new math standards next year. They'll be implemented the 25-26 school year. Along with those new standards, there will be a new course sequence for the high school, whereas typically right now we take Algebra 1, Geometry, Algebra 2, or maybe even you may start with Foundations Intermediate, then Geometry, and moving on. That will change next year. There will be some courses that will no longer be offered, and I'll talk to you about that in just a second. But each school will send a representative. We'll have a representative from the elementary, the middle, and the high school that will attend a Train the Trainer professional development this week offered by the State Department. We'll be going to Darlington for that, and then our representatives will come back to our schools and train the teachers in the new math standards at their school. New instructional materials and those adoptions for textbooks. Right now it's in the phase of the looking to see what they have, which ones fit our school and our district better. We're getting input from teachers. We had some teachers actually last week during their break go, and I know Mr. Fleming also went to look at some of the different textbook adoptions in Florence that we have offered, and once we kind of get more feedback on that, we will be bringing you at a future board meeting the math textbooks that we would like to adopt for next year. I mentioned those new pathways. The changes is now, where typically Algebra 1 came first, Algebra 1 is no longer the first math sequence at the high school level. Geometry is the new beginning sequence, and what they've done is the state has done away with some courses. Foundations and Intermediate is no longer. We had some kids that would go that path, that they needed that a little bit extra help before they took the EOC in Algebra 1 or during Intermediate, but the state is no longer offering those subjects. There will not be course codes for that anymore, so we won't be able to do that. But the state did realize that we have students that aren't ready for Algebra 1 when they go into 9th grade. So now Geometry will be the first math course that is taught, but it will not be the same geometry that is currently taught now. It is a geometry that is infused with statistics and more of a pre-algebra concept. so that students will get that kind of head start for Algebra 1 before they go into Algebra 1. And then every student in the state of South Carolina will have to take Algebra 1. So what that also does in the past, where we were having some students that were taking foundations and intermediate and then looking to go to college through the NCAA, they were having trouble with that because the NCAA does not recognize foundations and intermediate. So that will alleviate that issue that some of our students, not a lot, were having, because now every student will have to take Algebra 1. So the hope by the state of changing this is that geometry, with this new type of, not new type, but the standards in geometry that are infused with that pre-algebra will help prepare those students when they then take Algebra 1, and they will still take the EOC after they take Algebra 1. From there, they have two tracks. They could go into Algebra 2 with some probability standards, or they could go into the other two courses that the state has created. These are two new courses, which are applications in modeling and reasoning and mathematics. Those two, kind of where the state in the past did two courses at the beginning that could help students get math credits with intermediate and foundations. Now, after Algebra 1, there are two other courses for students that may not be looking to go to a four-year college that they can take. Again, kind of instead of all the lines and graphs and arrows, kind of more of just a straight comparison. If a student is looking to go to a four-year college, their path would be geometry with statistics, Algebra 1, Algebra 2, and then any upper level course that uses Algebra 2 as a prerequisite. If a student is not looking to go to a four-year college and they choose to do so, they again start with the geometry, they then go to the Algebra 1, and then they have a lot more choices on what they can do to get their other two math credits if they're not going to a four-year college. Again, if they're going four-year, you're looking on the left-hand side, they've got to take the courses in that sequence so that they can get what they need to go to four-year. But then if they're going two-year, technical college, military, workforce, they do have some other options now after Algebra 1. So those are coming. Our high school, they're already collaborating in their math department meetings on what this is going to look like, on what structure and what sequence they want to kind of do that, of after they take geometry, when do they want to take Algebra 1. We're kind of playing with some different ideas, talking about some different ideas to make sure, because one thing that we are worried about is a freshman coming in and taking geometry their fall of their ninth grade year and then possibly not taking Algebra 1 at some schools. Some students won't take Algebra 1 until the spring of their sophomore year. We're trying to look at a sequence so our students don't fall into that, to where some of them will have the opportunity to potentially take geometry and Algebra 1 back to back, because we think that could be a potential way that we can score better on our EOC. So we're still in the planning stages for that, to look so that our students can be best prepared so that they, one, get the courses they need, but then two, can do well on the EOC. Questions you may have?
And that's gonna go into effect next year.
Yes, ma'am.
Even for the students at the middle school or who are in advanced math, they'll take geometry.
Yeah. So what they will do, correct, we'll have a cohort that those students that are taking Algebra 1 now, they will have to take geometry next year. Now, what that will also mean next year at the middle school, that if they take an upper level math class, that will be a geometry class instead of an Algebra 1.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
Is that appropriate? So this pathway is for rising ninth graders.
That is correct.
So our
yes.
current students, we don't have to try to make this
We don't
work
have to
with
make
them.
that work, no. So for right now, the only thing that we may have to play with is if we have any students that do not pass foundations this year, can't get out of foundations. We do have 1 year that we can grandfather them in, but then after that we'd have to go. But if we had a student that, say, would pass Algebra 1 this year, ninth grade, or intermediate this year, ninth grade, they would then just take geometry the same way as the current 8th graders that are taking Algebra 1, and then they would move on to the next path.
Okay.
That is correct, yes. Any other questions? So we're hoping that for those students that have taken Algebra 1 this year, the geometry should be even easier for them because it is infusing
So
pre-algebra
they will
standards.
take the new.
They will take the new
Okay.
geometry, yeah, they will.
I do think this will help with the EOC.
We do,
I think this is good.
and it also helps hopefully with students that are looking to go the NCAA route, that we've had some students that did not realize that when they took intermediate or foundation, that they then had to go back and take Algebra 1 or Algebra 2. You could do that.
And those not planning to go
Yeah,
to a four-year
those not
college,
planning
not
on
having to
that.
take Algebra
Yes.
2 and probability and
Correct.
statistics as well.
Yes, they have a lot more options now for those students that are looking for a two-year college route or military workforce.
Ryan, so are we strong with math teachers, or is that gonna put us hiring a new math teacher?
Now, we have enough still currently. We're not having any math teachers that we're losing at the moment that we're aware of. So we should be good with the math teachers, yeah.
And Randy Willis will come back,
Yeah.
right?
If not, yeah, we'll be calling Randy, that's right. Yes. What we will probably have to do though is we'll have to look at what teachers teach what, that typically they may usually have taught this subject, because those subjects aren't gonna be offered anymore, that we will have to look to see who teaches what.
Thank you so much, Mr. Goins.
Jennifer? No, okay.
Ms. Wanda Willis.
It's all right, we won't keep it here long. Okay, we're just gonna briefly give you a little bit of an update. We talked a little bit last month about our enrollment being down 70 kids. So to let you know, we have evaluated this year's budget, which is, you really can't do a whole lot to this year's budget because you're mid-year. But it looks like we're gonna take about a $300,000 hit because of the loss of those students. Our fund balance, just as a reminder to you, as of June 2024, was 3.25 million. This is very healthy. Anytime you take, our budgeting process, as you're very much aware, is you shoot towards a moving bullseye. Because there are so many things that factor into the final numbers, that all you have is estimates to begin with. Even with a $300,000 hit, you're still in the 98th percentile of meeting your budget goals. You're still in that bullseye. The administration is evaluating everything, and we've already started talking about next year's budgets to see where we may need to align any of that. The next thing, now, are there any questions about the budget and the loss of the revenue that we may potentially have? I'm not saying we're gonna be $300,000 in the hole. I'm hoping that some other revenues are gonna come in a little bit more than we've expected. But just to prepare you, just in case, this is why you have to maintain a healthy fund balance.
I did notice on the financial statement that I'm assuming most of our property taxes comes in this month.
They'll come in a portion in January, but February and March
Yeah.
is the main bulk of when that comes in. So there, you will see that, and they are coming in according to projections of what we put into the budget. So I'm not anticipating any loss of revenue there at all. Okay, the other thing that we all sat around and talked about and decided that there was a very real need for us to do some professional development with our substitutes. So we're gonna create an e-training module with them where they're gonna have to certify every year the aspects of human resources and payroll, which is inconsequential really, but the stuff about school emergency protocols, the confidentiality issues with HIPAA and FERPA and what they can and cannot discuss outside of the classroom area. These things have been conveyed to them, but not in an area where we can document that these things have been discussed with them. So this is going to allow them to take this e-training workshop through the thing that we currently have in place. We've created, it'll also go over what we consider to be professionalism and give them some classroom management tips. And this is something where we can follow up, if something, as these emergency protocols change, as we've seen them change over and over again, we'll have them recertify every year so that they know exactly those particular issues, because we add people to the substitute list every month. So, we have it's a pretty revolving door. We have some that are mainstays that have been here for a long time, but we do have some that come in quite regularly every month. So we're gonna require this before we put them in the classroom. Okay, any questions about any of that?
Thank you very much.
Your turn.
Alrighty, I've got one slide for you, not to say that we're not doing anything in operations, it's just the things that we are doing are consuming a lot of our time. We have executed a contract with Snyder Electric for phase 2, so that's all the work that we discussed last month at the elementary school. The district-wide automation for HVAC. The JHS HVAC system, I was here last Thursday during the break with the installers getting trained on those thermostats and have been getting those online so that we can, have some remote programming on those. And we have hired a new director of facilities and grounds. Mr. Mel Rogers will begin with us tentatively in May. So a lot going on. Mr. Bobby came by today to talk to me. Him and Mr. Willie are getting ready to get the grounds looking right and get things sprayed. So a lot going on, just not a lot to update you on. With that being said, do y'all have any questions?
Any update on the track field?
Still wet. With the weather warming up though, that should turn around here pretty soon. I would expect in the next 30 days for them to get rolling on that pretty hard.
The wetness of the track field is that a drainage problem? What exactly?
We've had the drains looked at, but it's really the subsurface. It's just this is a very wet area, and there's water in some areas. You go less than a foot down, and they were hitting water. So they've added mixed in some concrete and stuff like that to kind of shore that surface up. But I've been assured that once the weather warms up, the trees start blooming again, a lot of that water will get drawn up and we should be good to go. All right.
Okay, just a few legislative updates. The House Education Committee scholarship debate, I think, has ended. They did set the scholarship amount at $6,000 for 25-26, and any future increases will be tied to the state aid for classroom funding. They did add that only $750 of that $6,000 could be spent on transportation. So in order to qualify, you must be at 300% poverty level, which in a family of 4 is considered $93,600 for 25-26, and then for a family of 4 in 26-27, it would move up to $124,800. They're basing it on 3 priority windows. One, if you're currently participating and you got it this year, you're going to get it next year. If you have a sibling that already receives it and you have another one coming to school, that sibling will get it. And then they have a 30-day window open for military families. Students that are under that poverty level will get, the lower the poverty, the better chance you have of getting it. And then any students in DSS custody or that have exceptional needs. In 25-26, there will be 10,000 scholarships available, and in 26-27, it'll move up to 15,000. I don't even think they used all of their scholarships from last year, so Robin has done a wonderful job of reaching out to our people who pay tuition to let them know about the scholarship. And we have how many right now on scholarship?
11.
11. So the word's getting out there, they're getting approved. We received the notice of intent to award us with the strategic compensation grant, which I talked to you about last month. We were waiting to hear if we got the grant, and we did. And it's going to serve teachers in grades 4 through 8 who teach ELA or math. And the anticipated allocation we'll get is $162,900, but it's going to be based on how the students perform. And to give you a little bit of information on how that works is we went with the state collaboration approach, and they will calculate once the student takes SC Ready and the scores are sent in, they will calculate the growth the student made. If the student meets the formula, that teacher can receive up to $300 per student. So those teachers of ELA and math in Florence School District 5 next year who make growth can get a big check if they make the growth. They're doing it as a pilot program, so not every district got it. What they'll do is see if this impacts how well the students perform and if rewarding teachers makes a difference. And I think that's something they'll look at in the future. I'm really excited for these teachers. And we're probably gonna hear it from the other teachers who aren't gonna qualify for the grant, but this is a starting point. And again, it's a pilot year. Because the scores don't come in until August or September, those teachers won't get that award until August or September. But I'm excited for the teachers. They don't even know yet. We'll tell them this week. I'm waiting for the State Department to send the letter, so I say exactly to the teachers what I need to. We have our interviews for principal, for JES principal will begin next week. And then the interviews and the hiring for our open certified positions will begin in March. The positions you saw posted, most of them were our retiree positions. Of those positions, only 2 noted that they were actually gonna retire. So the interview and hiring will take place so that we can make our recommendations by the March board meeting. Okay, upcoming events. Miss Robin did print you a copy of this calendar so I don't have to read them all and you can take them with you. We have a lot going on in February and March. From now to our next board meeting, we'll be busy, but if you can come to any of these events, I'm sure they'd love to see you there. And that concludes the superintendent's report.
All right, thank you, Ms. Prosser. We'll continue to our 4 action agenda, and first up, we have the second reading of the 2025-26 proposed school calendar.
One thing I did want you to note is the makeup days. This is the second reading. Do we want to leave them as they are? I know we had some issues this year with the makeup day falling on the break. We looked at opportunities to change it, but it's going to take away some break to change it. So typically we don't go over the 5 e-learning days. This was just one of those years. So just as you vote on the next one, I wanted you to check out those makeup days.
Any concerns on those makeup days? Leave the same? Rock and roll. Well, if we don't have any changes, I'll entertain a motion to approve that second reading of that proposed school calendar.
I make a motion, we approve the second reading of the 25-26 proposed school calendar.
A second.
We have a motion that is second. Any questions? All in favor? Opposed to have the same right? Thank you. Next up is the overnight field trip.
This is for high school beta club. As you know, our beta club at the high school won some awards and now they're headed to nationals. That will take place in June. So basically she's included everything you need to know attached to it.
I make a motion that we approve the overnight field trip request.
I second.
Any more discussion? All in favor, say aye. Opposed to have the same right? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to go into executive session.
I make a motion, we enter an executive session.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Ready? I will entertain a motion to exit executive session.
I make a motion, we exit executive session.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Coming out of executive session, we have two actions. The first is the administrative contract recommendations.
I make a motion that we accept the administrative contract recommendations.
I'll second.
We got a motion properly second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed have the same right? Hearing none. We will move to the resignations.
I'll make a motion, we regretfully accept these resignations.
I second.
We have a motion properly second. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed have the same right? Hearing none. I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?